Hey everybody, I'm Sara Wiseman. Today we're going to do a little more holiday first aid, I guess, to help you sort of deal with or understand some more of the holiday stressors that you might be running across and how you can deal with them. So we're about to enter into a time when many people are going to be in situations where they're going to family members' homes and having larger celebrations with different people. We talked last time about how the different generations coming together with the advent of social media and just the onslaught of marketing that we're receiving. People are getting vastly different information, and so vastly different points of views across the generations. So it's very useful to come into that idea of just because you're family does not mean you are going to agree. Even if your family is all liberal or all conservative, doesn't mean you're going to agree. Even if you have the same political affiliation, because of these generational, generational experiences, you're going to have a different viewpoint. So coming into that position, I think when you get to some big holiday events, what I've found a couple things that work pretty well for me and that I've noticed work kind of well for people who in general are intuitive, empathic, sensitive, easily reading other people's emotions or easily sensing the energy in the room. And then suddenly there's a lot of energy in the room and there may be a lot of highly charged feelings or a lot of conflict, is to give yourself a few ways of dealing with it so that you're centering yourself before you even go. So one thing you can do is, I'm just going to give you a couple. One thing you can do is just not go. And this seems like, what? How can I skip this giant big event? And I'm just saying you can skip it. The world will not fall apart if you don't go to somebody's event, or if you don't go to a family event, or if you are the person that normally hosts an event and you just don't do it. Now, people might be disappointed, maybe, but looking at your own self-care and deciding, like making an evaluation, is it going to be better for me to go and have all of this extreme suffering and need to recover for several days? Or is it better for me to not go and deal with the social outcry that I wasn't there? Which is going to be better for me? So that's just an option. Like, you don't have to go if you don't want to go. You just don't have to. In fact, not going and not participating can be one of the most clear ways you can set boundaries from very toxic people. Just, I can't go. And then the toxic person is just stewing away in their own demand. And so that's an option. You can, if you have a really toxic parent or sibling or friend or colleague, then you're just like, I don't want to go. That person makes me so uncomfortable. I always feel horrible after I'm spending time with that person. This can be the start of your boundary. I can't go to your holiday thing. I can't go. So that's one way. The other way is consider the idea of, if you do go, and this won't apply to everyone, but for some of you, consider the idea of going completely sober, so that instead of grabbing onto the wine or beer or whatever your group tends to have as like, oh, I gotta have this to get through this event, consider having non-alcohol or no substances so that you can sense reality better. sensitive people in general are sensing everything all the time. And if you can be in touch with reality as it is really happening without some kind of substance or intoxicant, you're going to be better able to receive information and understand it clearly. Now, chances are good if you're in a group that drinks a lot or does a lot of drugs or whatever people do, and you're the only one sober, you're going to have a very different view of what the energy really is like. And this may be what saves you from heading into dangerous energetic territory with one person or another. Your ability to stay clear in what might be considered almost like a dangerous zone may be very useful to you. The next thing that I would suggest, and this is consider having a plan. So either having let's just start with have an escape route. Decide that if things get really bad at a particular place or in a particular party or event, you're going to have an escape route. And maybe you set this up early, like, oh, hey, I have to leave at 8 because, or just, oh, I have to leave at 8. Even if you know that this is going to be going on till 11 or 12, you're like, I got to be out of here because I have a big day the next day. You don't need an excuse. You can just say, hey, I have to go. And then make yourself avail the wide variety of Uber and other things that are around so that you don't rely on somebody else for a ride. You're like, hey, I got to go. Wonderful to see you all. Wish I could stay longer. You're out. So you create that escape route for you. And obviously, if you're going with someone else as your partner or spouse, you just got to have that clear thing like, hey, I got to go. And the other person, you've already pre-agreed. Like, okay, when I get the signal from you, regardless of how much fun I'm having, I understand you've reached your limit. We're out of here. You have to have that agreement set before. If you're in disagreement, again, you've got your escape route. Take an Uber, go. The other idea that I really like, and I use this a lot in a big gathering, is sometimes you'll just find yourself like, it's pretty fun, but you're just feeling a little like you need some space. And so go and find the space in the house or building or center or wherever you are. Go find the quiet space where nobody is and just sit yourself down, beautiful introvert that you are, and just sit yourself down and center yourself. Just relax. Just relax by yourself. It's so funny. And sometimes it backfires a bit because I was at a workshop a while back and it was a lot of people. It was a wonderful workshop, but I just really was craving that, just some downtime by myself without a bunch of other people. And I found this beautiful little room that nobody was in this space that we were at. And I sat down and I'm just like loving my delicious private time. And then someone else kind of peeks their head around and they're like, oh, hey, can I join you? You're like, yeah. And then that was pretty good. 2 people, 2 introverts sort of just like vibing down and having their time. And that was good. And it's, I think what was happening is our energy was so good and so enjoyable. And then somebody else came and said, hey, this looks like fun. Can I join you? And we're just sitting quietly. Now it's 3 people. And then pretty soon the room was crowded. Like everyone was attracted to whatever was going on in this room. So that was funny. But in most situations, you can find a private spot. Even if you just like, I need to use the restroom. Like you're just staying there and just kind of just get yourself back to center. One step outside if there's an outside place. And then the last thing is really look, there might be more things, but I'm just going to say the last thing is really look at the fleeting aspect of this particular event that you're doing, or this particular gathering. This may be a family gathering, a work gathering, something else, but this is going to be a period of time in your life, an hour, a couple hours, half a day maybe, where you're going to be around a particular group of people. You're going to be having a particular interaction. This is not your whole life, right? This is not who you are. It's not who they are. It's just this meeting that happens. And I would suggest from a soul perspective that you are probably in this gathering because you have deep karmic stuff to work out with whoever you're in this gathering with. The universe is not random at all, right? So wherever you find yourself plunked down in, or whoever you find yourself plunked in close contact with, the universe is not just like, yeah, randomly we're going to put you with you, that we're just going to do a random thing. That's how we roll. We're just the universe. Nothing makes sense. So no, that's not how it is. The universe is like, hey, we're putting you with your mother and your horrible aunt, say, because you have deep karmic stuff to work out with them from this lifetime and from many lifetimes. And we are providing this intensive piece of time in which you can choose to get closer to your soul essence together and resolve that, or you can kind of waste the time in not understanding or not attempting to come to some kind of healing. Sometimes the healing is something will be expressed and you'll have a better understanding of that person and their experience. Sometimes the healing is you go away from the event and you're like, that was terrible. My boundaries are firmly in place. I'm not seeing them again. And sometimes the healing is you're like, that was bad. I have compassion for that person. I'm not going to see them again, but I don't need to make a big deal about it. But I am just going to just let it go. I'm going to let my part of the anger, the angst, the anxiety, whatever feelings you have about the people that you've been thrown in with during this holiday gathering. I want you to look at those as specific karmic crossings in which the universe is allowing you to, in an intensive situation, to work stuff out. And again, maybe you work it out right there. You like have a discussion, but maybe the working out is internal for you. Maybe you are working out your relationship with that person from a place of your understanding being expanded. So these holiday events, not random, a lot of options. And it's really about you deciding how you're going to show up. And I think it is useful to have this understanding, be like, nothing is random. You're being assigned this particular holiday gathering or not, because this is what you're meant to be learning. We'll talk more about this. This applies to the holidays. It also applies to just in general dynamics of groups of people and how to deal as an empath or sensitive in crowded and intense situations. We will be back next time. You will find me at sarawiseman.com with lots of offerings and trainings to help you explore this further. Thank you, everyone.